Good morning, good morning, good morning, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Spilling Tea. I'm your host, Tiffany Daniels, and we're going to that horrible world known as the JRC. But before we do, the usual disclaimers and a little bit of a rant. Well, I wish I could say I didn't see it coming, but I did. It doesn't surprise me at all, not even a little bit, that the trans community is being openly attacked. Nor does it surprise me at all that when they seek to defend themselves, then the people who are attacking them decide that they're going to go ahead and play victim. Not how any of this works. In a logical, coherent world, individuals would be judged not by how they identify, what their disability is, their sexual orientation, the color of their skin, the list literally goes on, but on their individual actions as a human being. But no, we live in a world where we instead have individuals who like to use distraction tactics, like GOPers, where they will go ahead and go all out to further marginalize an already marginalized group. Very unfairly, I might add, to paint everyone with the same brush. And the question becomes, why do they do this? It's because if they can get you mad and distracted and fighting them on this, they can continue to support the NRA and make sure that they get their blood money every year for their next campaign. It's smoke and mirrors, folks. Smoke and mirrors. It is one of the number one tools in politics and one of the oldest. They can distract you by either get you to attack this boogeyman that they've created that doesn't actually exist in real life. Then the issue that is actually causing the problem perhaps goes unremarked on. Why am I not surprised about any of this? Because it's been done to us. It's been done to the autistic community. Matter of fact, it's even dragged out, dusted off, and put on open display on YouTube, Twitter, and the whole worldwide media literally every April. Every single year as we get close to the end of March and into April, every autistic out there starts feeling tense. Because we all know what's going to happen. It's the same political fear-mongering bull that happens every April. And why do they do this? It's the money. Simple as that. Now, these two situations are very different from one another, but at heart, the main thing remains the same. These people are not looking out for us. They're looking out for their bank accounts. Allow me to say that again. They're not looking out for us. They're looking out for their bank accounts. They do not care about the collateral damage that they cause in their wake. In fact, they may even find a way to capitalize off of the chaos that they have brought down. I've seen it far too many times. Again, literally every April. Literally every April. We're getting ready to go through it again here as we head into Autism Awareness Light It Up Blue Month. And by the way, media, thanks you for totally, because of Autism Speaks and their rhetoric and the fact that you push it every year, one of my favorite colors is now associated with that hate group that you all love so much. Marginalized groups are easy targets. The Republicans know this. And if they can go out and attack the trans community and then play victim, they can get people more engaged with that debate and less people engaged with what's actually causing the problem. The ridiculously lax gun laws in this country. So what can we as individuals do in these types of situations? Don't allow ourselves to become distracted. Now, I'm not telling you to not call out their anti-trans rhetoric, because I absolutely am. It should be called out. But do not do it to the point that you forget where the original issue started. Don't let them turn you around and blind you with their hateful speech to the point that you're no longer looking at how much money they receive from the NRA. Okay? What do we call it? I mean, I'm Gen X. Keep your eye on the ball. Do not fall for it. However, saying that, you can keep your eye on the ball while not allowing these people who are already marginalized and already treated horrifically to allow these people, because they're trying to distract you. They can, and it does, lead to persecution of marginalized groups. Again, I know this because I'm autistic and I've been through it. Every single one of my peers have been through it. We're still going through it. We all, every last one of us, live with the back of our minds every single day, knowing that any state could strip our autonomy from us, place us under a guardian with no warning, and ship us off to places like the JRC at any given moment in time. Okay? We live with this. I have a good idea. I mean, the anti-trans rhetoric was already horrific. Manufactured lies spread all over the news. The Republicans are going to use this as a two-pronged attack. They're going to blame everything on that community and then continue to demonize those of us who continue to sit there and just say all we need is some common sense gun laws. All right, let's get into it, shall we? In the description box, you're going to find the link to the article that the Judge Rotenberg Educational Center doesn't want you to read. It was written by NeuroClastic, a small non-for-profit started by autistics for autistics, wherein they interviewed and surveyed over 900 ABA professionals in regards to the JRC's so-called behavior modification program. Matter of fact, the JRC doesn't want you to read this article so much they have threatened NeuroClastic with a defamation lawsuit if they did not remove it from the website. Well, NeuroClastic has refused, so folks, please read that article and share it on all your social media. You're also going to see linked in there NeuroClastic's public statement regards to the defamation lawsuit threat, as well as a link to their GoFundMe. We are crowdfunding, folks, in case those people at the JRC have the cojones to see through with their threat. You're also going to see linked in there the Ozarks First article in regards to the Agape boarding school, now known as Stone for Help boarding school situation. This is a so-called Christian-themed boarding school based out of Stockton, Missouri that has and pending, folks, over 21 civil lawsuits, claims, and allegations leveled against it, all which have been substantiated by the Missouri Department of Social Services, and they include the following: sodomy, rape, sexual assault, child abuse, psychological and emotional abuse, child trafficking, starvation, and that's just for starters, You have one former staff member arrested by the FBI. Another, a doctor, still on the premises with full access to the boys, up on multiple, again, substantiated claims of sodomy, rape, and sexual assault of the boys there. You have an attorney general too busy chasing drag queens and engaging in anti-trans rhetoric to actually do his job and protect the kids that are actually under threat from people who've already been proven to be pedophiles. And you got a governor off his nut giving us empty platitudes while he continues to peddle his QAnon bullshit. So please read that article and share it on all your social media. We got the other pertinent links to the Stop the Shocks campaign as well, including Hoya's massive archive on the subject, Jennifer Masumba's behavioral sheet of shockable offenses, a clip out of the 7-hour ordeal undergone by Andre McCollins back in 2002, and the ever-present self-explanatory Change.org Shut the Judge Rotenberg Center Down petition. When we discuss the JRC, you're going to hear vivid descriptions of and catch clips of surveillance footage of people with disabilities being tortured and abused. If you got young children present, please use your headphones, all right? All right, we marked this channel not for kids for a reason. We use profanity on occasion, as you've witnessed, obviously, and we do talk on dark subjects. If your child is 16 and younger and they are watching this, very obviously, folks, parental supervision is advised, all right? Okay, so where we left off yesterday, one girl who was blind, deaf, and nonverbal. Oh, trigger warning, forgot. We are about to once again descend into the mad ravings of the lunatic mind known as Dr. Matthew Israel. You're going to hear gaslighting, victim blaming, pseudoscience, and lies, all coming from a man with a massive ego and even larger God complex, so be prepared for the stupid. Now let's get into it, shall we? This is a false claim. JRC has never had a student who was both blind and deaf. Like many of the other false statements in the MDRI report, this is an anonymous accusation in which the accuser and the allegedly abused student are both unidentified. Here Matthew Israel goes again with not really understanding the concept of whistleblower. Why are whistleblowers and witnesses or survivors that come forward, why is their identity protected? To keep them protected from harassment. The JRC has unlimited funds they make off of our backs every year. They get emboldened by things like the DC Circuit Court being on their side. There are reasons why whistleblower laws are set in place, and it's this exact reason. If they are given names, what do you think the JRC is going to do with that? Remember, this is an organization that has ordered staff to destroy surveillance footage so that they do not incriminate themselves. This is an organization that has refused paperwork specifically requested by their own police department. This is a team that fought for over 12 years to keep the video of Andre McCollins and what happened that day back in 2002 under wraps. Okay? So them sitting there acting butthurt saying, but the students that they're talking about weren't even identified, so how do you know that it's true? It's very simple, doctor. Video surveillance footage. Let's forget the doctor's visits. Let's forget the ERs. We'll forget New York, the parents, and all of it right now. Let's just focus on one thing. Video surveillance footage. That's how all of us know what you got up to, doctor. Before we found any of the rest of the information that we now have. Where it all began. This is the video surveillance footage that you took. Okay? So you have to excuse me and the MDRI if we take you at your video surveillance footage. Even though, you continue to tell us that we don't understand what we're seeing. This is the kind of crap that Dr. Matthew Israel does a lot. Basically, it's a long paper of whining, half-assed justifications, and arrogance. Dr. Matthew Israel is one of those people who believes himself to be beyond scrutiny. He feels insulted that he has to deign to respond to these allegations because he's this godlike doctor and he should never be questioned. This is his area of expertise. Kind of like how people like AH want to sit there and say, but I'm a victim, but there's evidence. But I'm still a victim. How do you figure? How do you figure? Right? As far as, but we've never had a student who is both. You have to excuse me if I'm going to err here, but I'm going to side with MDRI at New York when it comes to this particular report here than I am with a doctor who is known to play fast and loose with his own paperwork and basically spent a good majority of the time that he's been under scrutiny lying his ass off. Let me be more blunt. Whether or not this is true, once again, it does not take away from the things that we already know. It's cherry picking, doctor. It's cherry picking. And you know it is. So what are we learning from this very short exchange here? That as usual, the doctor's whining that these survivors who have come forward have their names, where they live, their addresses, their information protected. Because he feels like he has a right to this information. Even though the reason why whistleblower and witness protection laws are in place is because we know people like Dr. Matthew Israel with an immense amount of authority and a lot of corruption to cover his hind parts is more than likely, if given the IDs of these specific individuals, is going to track them down and trying to intimidate them. And then he's going to mince words here. But that's never happened. We have video surveillance footage. It's not what it looks like. It is exactly what it looks like. You don't understand. That's what we're dealing with, folks. That's what we're dealing with. And I'm going to sign out on that one. We don't get very many views on this channel. The few that we do tend to get removed from time to time. So please don't forget to hit the like button, hit subscribe. Please, folks, don't forget to hit the comments. I do appreciate your time. And as always, we here at Spilling Tea do hope you have a good one. Bye-bye, everyone.